The logout mechanics of Old School RuneScape are something all players are aware of but rarely know the specifics. Let's go through some scenarios and show how the logout system works. The basic logout is very easy to understand. You hit the logout button and confirm and you log out. You cannot log out during certain actions and you must have been out of combat for 10 seconds. The second method of logging out is the auto disconnect, which is when the game itself forces your account to log out for game integrity and account safety. Comes in three main flavors: the 5-minute inactivity logout, the 20-minute combat logout, and the 6-hour absolute logout. The most common is the 5-minute inactivity logout. The game keeps track of the last time you interacted with the game. This includes clicks, key presses, and most mouse movement over the game client. Once 5 minutes has passed, the server will begin attempting to log you out, thinking you have stepped away. The 20-minute logoff for combat is the next most common and is a little less understood. At 20 minutes after the last interaction, your character will not be forced to log off, but instead will no longer auto-retaliate in combat. Since the 20-minute logout isn't a hard rule as most people believe, this does lead to a few specific interactions. The situation most players are familiar with would be inactivity on a Slayer task or similar combat trip. Around 20 minutes of inactivity will stop the player from auto-retaliating. At the same time, monsters will lose their aggression through the tolerance system. This means the players will drop out of combat, neither the player nor the monster are attacking, and the 5-minute inactivity timer from before is now free to log out the account. There are some important distinctions in how this system works. Once started, the 5-minute auto logout will continue attempting to log the account out until it is either successful or sees a new interaction. This means if a player is in the nightmare zone and in combat for 10 minutes of inactivity, they will get auto-logged if there is any 10-second window where they are out of combat. The 5-minute auto-log keeps attempting after 5 minutes from the last interaction. It does not start a new timer when the player drops from combat. Another important point is that the 5-minute timer is equivalent to player manually logging out, and is incapable of logging out during combat. This means if a player hits the 20-minute auto-retaliate timer, they can actually stay logged in, so as long as the monsters are aggressive. I was able to go 1 hour and 20 minutes in the easy Nightmare Zone Rumble before death. This is less useful than it sounds, as the player will not be attacking for the last hour, having stopped auto-retaliating at 20 minutes. The last version is the 6-hour log. Every 6 hours from initial login, an account will be logged out. There is nothing stopping the player from relogging immediately, but this exists to stop bots or AFK tasks from running days at a time uninterrupted. This logout can occur in combat and is likely treated as an X-log on the server. An exit log, or X-log, refers to closing the game client using the red X button or any similar method such as a crash, disconnect, or shutdown. Basically, any way the client is closed or loses connection other than through the official client logout. In-game, when the server no longer detects your client's presence, it will attempt to log out with a few rules. If the player is out of combat, a normal logout occurs when detected, although the player can reconnect without relogging if a connection is restored fast enough. An important distinction is that the X-log is capable of logging players instantly after exiting combat, getting around the 10-second block for most auto-log actions, as well as logging the player out while in combat. Once a client is no longer detected, a 90-second timer will begin while the server continues attempting to log out the account. If the player leaves combat in those 90 seconds, an instant logout can occur if the account has been inactive for at least 10 seconds. However, at 90 seconds, the player will be logged out regardless of combat. This makes it possible to dodge a PKer by killing a monster 10 seconds after you X-log. Since the 10-second timer doesn't apply, the game can log you out on the tick after exiting combat, usually beating most reaction times. It can also be used to safely log in PK areas by making combat last longer than 90 seconds, allowing the auto log out to trigger in combat. This is usually done by swapping to fists only or splashing instead. In single-way combat, a PKer can't attack you, and the player and monster will be locked in a stalemate until the player safely gets logged out.
Hey, I'm Grant. I make these little discussion videos on OSRS every Saturday in my spare time with my views as a more casual player. A like and a subscribe goes a long way to make sure these keep coming out, and if you ever want to, you can contact me in-game under the same name if you ever just want to chat or lend any advice. Hope to see you around the channel, and I'll be back again next Saturday.